in order to accelerate as well as to accept the new drug which they are going to start or which they are going to establish or which they are going to form. This strategic alliance also is very much important because the factor says in order to reduce the political risk, the strategic alliance is being formed. They come together, make an alliance in order to see that to pool the resources and take the benefit of the advantage of that particular resource. So value chain partnership is a very strong and a close alliance strategy which is being established or formed by the business units. Hi and a warm welcome to all dear students. I, GWsir, Commerce Faculty, Department of Commerce, Vidhyaashram First Grade College, the Temple of Excellence, MYSURU. Dear students, today I am going to take up session 9 regarding business policy of Unit 1. In today's session, students, let us see what are the various business strategies which have been followed and what are the factors which are promoting this business strategies or which gives the rise for the strategic alliance, right? Or we say the reasons for forming strategic alliance. In the last class or in the last previous session, I was explaining to you about the strategic alliance. So in today's session, we'll see why and what are the factors which are promoting for rising of this particular strategic alliance, or we say the reasons for forming the strategic alliance. So it says what is the necessity or why it is giving rise, what are the factors. It says to gain the foreign markets. In order to gain or in order to enter into the foreign markets, you require this particular strategy known as that is the strategic alliance, right? So this alliance is very, very important in order to see that to enter into the new market, that is, or it may be entering into international market, or we call it as the foreign markets. So if you see in the pharmaceutical industry, there two companies, Pharmacia and Pfizer, they have formed an alliance. They have combined together and formed an alliance, right? In order to enter into the foreign market, and that is for the smooth market entry. So there should not be any kind of competition. There should not be any kind of rift between these two companies. So in order to avoid this kind of rift, so these two companies, that is Pharmacia as well as the Pfizer company, they have come into an alliance, that is the strategic alliance. And in order for the smooth entering into the market, so that to accelerate and accept, in order to accelerate as well as to accept the new drug which they are going to start or which they are going to establish or which they are going to form. So that is the reason. The first reason says why there is need or why there is a need for the strategic alliance. And also it says there is a need or the factor which influence this rise of strategic alliance is because it says to bring complementary skills. In order to bring complementary skills. What is this complementary skills? It says the Intel company and they have formed an alliance with whom the Hewlett company or Hewlett Packard company, that is HP, we say the HP company. So HP company and Intel company, they have come together, formed a strategic alliance, right? To use HP's capability in order to use and utilize the HP's capabilities as well as to develop the Pentium microscore or we say Pentium microprocessors. So in order to manufacture Pentium microprocessors, the Intel company and the HPs, they have come or combined together in order to see that to bring out the device. And that is why it says to bring a complementary skill, that is in order to bring the various skills combined together, these skills bringing out a new device. And it also reduces the financial skills or risk, we say. In order to reduce the financial risk, there is a strategic alliance which is being formed, and that is also one of the factors why there is a need for rising in the strategic alliance. So the IBM and Toshiba, these two are the companies along with the Siemens company. So Siemens company along with IBM and Toshiba, these three companies, they have entered into an alliance. They have come into an alliance in a collaboration with these three, and in order to share the fixed cost of developing new microprocessors. So why they have this particular companies, three companies have come together, and what is the necessity to raise this strategic alliance? That is in order to share the fixed cost, whatever the fixed costs are there, that is to manufacture this microprocessors, right? In order to manufacture the new microprocessors, and you see there is a lot of huge investment is required, and the fixed cost is required for that particular processes in order to be established or to be formed or produced. So to bear that, in order to bear this particular fixed cost, these three companies, IBM, Toshiba and Siemens, they have come together and formed an alliance. We call it as the strategic alliance. And also to achieve competitive advantage. So this particular strategy, that is the alliance strategy, is being formed by various companies in order to see that to achieve a competitive advantage, right? That is the GM and Toyota companies, they have established and formed a joint venture by the name of NUMMI Corporation. So in order to take the advantage of the competition, the companies, they come together and they see that this kind of achievement will be undertaken, that is in order to achieve the competition advantage, and that is the reason why GM and Toshiba have come together and established an alliance, or they make a joint venture between themselves, and they have brought a new name or given a new name called as NUMMI Corporation. NUMMI Corporation. And also we see, in order to reduce the political risk, this strategic alliance also is very much important, because the factor says in order to reduce the political risk, the strategic alliance is being formed. So a US company has entered into an alliance. So this company might has entered into an alliance with a Chinese company. So US company has entered into an alliance with the Chinese company or appliance maker called RSD, and in order to gain the access to China, in order to get entry into the China. So this kind of strategic alliance has been formed. And also to see that to shape the industry evolution. So this particular strategic alliance is also formed in order to give a shape to the industry, that is the industrial revolution or evolution we say. That is the Lucent Technologies and Motorola. These two companies, that is Lucent Technologies as well as Motorola company, they have entered into an alliance. They have entered into an alliance, that is a strategic alliance, that is in order to develop a new generation of digital signal processing chips. So in order to develop the new digital processing chips, these two companies, the Lucent and the Motorola, they have come together and formed a joint venture or an alliance so that they can develop new kind of generation of digital process, that is signal processing chips, right? And it is designed in such a way that so the power next generation cellular phones and other consumer electronics. So this is designed to the power next generation cellular phones as well as for the other electronic or the consumer electronic goods. So that is the reason they have formed this alliance. And also it says to set the technological standards. In order to set the technological standards, the strategies are being formed where alliance has been come together and they have formed an alliance, that is the strategic alliance, where the Philips company has entered in the alliance with the MYSURU company or manufacturer, so that the market the digital compact cassettes. In order to manufacture the digital compact cassettes, this company, Philips company, has entered into an alliance with the MYSURU's company or manufacturer, and thereby they see that there is a market for digital compact cassettes. Now, coming to the types of strategic alliance, as we have seen the various rise, why and factors, or the rise, why there is a rise of the factors which is influencing the strategic alliance. Let us go to the topic called as the types. Let us understand what are the types or different types of strategic alliance. So first we see the mutual service consortia. That is, a mutual service consortium is a partnership. This is a kind of partnership of similar companies, of the same companies, of same industries or similar industries. They come together in order to pool their resources. Why the similar companies or the same industries coming together and joining and making a joint venture or making an alliance with each other? It is nothing but to pool the resources. That is, in order to invest the resources as well as to gain a benefit. So not only for the investment, but also that is not only for the pooling of the resources, but also to get the benefit out of it, that is, which is too expensive to develop alone. So here the company, why these both are coming together, that is mutual service consortia, because they come together, make an alliance in order to see that to pool the resources and take the benefit of the advantage of the particular resource, where if only one company, if it comes to invest, it is a very expensive one for the investment part on part of investment. So that is the reason it says there is a alliance which has been taken into consideration, alliance strategy is been formed. So that is first type. So example here, IBM offered Toshiba company its expertise in chemical mechanical polishing, right, in order to develop a new manufacturing process. So this kind of mutual service consortia, that is the IBM company, is offered Toshiba, that is its expensive or expertise chemical mechanical polishing, in order to see that to develop a new marketing process. So in order to come up with a new marketing process, this company has offered the expertise or the people in the market, that is chemical mechanical polishing. Now coming to the second type, it says joint venture. Under the strategy alliance, it says the second type we have the joint venture. What is the joint venture? It says it is a cooperative business activity. It is a cooperation of between two companies, right? Or they are doing their business, both of them coming together, collaborating with each other, and they are doing this venture formed by two or more separate organizations. So this kind of joint venture is from two or more organizations or the companies where they make the joint venture, right, in order to, for strategic purpose, in order to make strategies for that particular establishments, right, or the products. That creates an independent business identity. So when they come together in the joint process or the joint venture, so that will create or it will establish an independent business, a separate business identity. So they will get a separate separate identity, as well as allocates the ownership. It will allocate the ownership to those companies who are coming in the joint venture. Operational responsibilities also will be there, and financial risk and rewards to each members will be there, and it preserves their separate identity or autonomy. So these are the important features we say about joint venture. So again, I'll repeat, a joint venture is a cooperative or cooperation of business activities which they are doing, right? It is been formed by two or more separate industries, or we say organizations or the companies, in order for the strategic purposes, in order to bring out new strategies or ideas in their development or the establishment or the whatever the business they are doing, and to create an independent, in order to establish an independent business identity. So very important, keep this in mind what I am explaining to you. So these are nothing but it creates, when the joint venture is been formed, it creates an independent business identity, right, as well as it allocates the ownership. So it will give the ownership, as well as it gives an operational responsibilities to the people who are working there, as well as the financial risk and the rewards to each members will be there on their part, and preserving their separate identity. So they will be having a separate identity and or the autonomy, that is the freedom to do the work or business. So here IOC, Indian Oil Corporation, and Oil Tanking Gamble formed a joint venture. So these two companies, IOC and Oil Tanking GmbH, they formed a joint venture in order to build and operate. Why they formed a joint venture? Because to see that operate terminating services for petroleum products. So they formed this joint venture and they started operating in order to do the terminating services, that is for the petroleum products. Now third is licensing agreement. So this is also a different, one more type of, we say, the strategic alliance. Licensing agreement means it is an agreement which is made by the companies, which the license firm grants rights to another firm to in another country or the market to produce or sell a product. So licensing agreement is nothing but it is an agreement made between the companies or the organizations where they are granting the license, they are giving the rights, granting rights to another firm. So they are giving the license or the granting the license rights to another company, right, or another firm. It may be in another country, right, or in any other market, in order to produce or sell a product. So that is what the part of licensing agreement. So you can see an example, Procter and Gamble, P&G, they licensed the Old Spice company trademark. So this P&G, they gave the license for Old Spice company, that is the trademark and business, to Goa-based company. So they gave the, that is permission, that is the license, permission was given, the rights was given to this Goa-based company, that is Menzies Cosmetics Limited, and it is for a period of 10 years. So this license validity is for 10 years, and the manufacturer, that is to manufacture, produce, to sell and distribute and market in India, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. So here this company P&G, that is Procter and Gamble, licensed the Old Spice trademark business to Goa-based company Menzies Cosmetic Limited, and it is validity for 10 years. That license agreement is validity for 10 years. In that period of 10 years, they have the right to manufacture the product, to sell the product, to distribute the product and in the markets, and that is in the different countries like Sri Lanka, India as well as in Bangladesh. So that is about licensing arrangement or agreement. Fourth one is value chain partnership. The fourth one is value chain partnership. So what is this value chain partnership? It is also a strong and a close alliance. So value chain partnership is a very strong and a close alliance strategy which is been established or formed by the business units, right? By which one company or the unit forms a long-term arrangements, right? So here in this particular value chain partnership, so it is, as I told you, it is a very strong as well as it is very close alliance, and where one company or a unit, any company or any unit, they will form a very long-term arrangements with the key supplier or the distributor. These companies, they are going to, that is, it may be any one company or any unit, they will form a very long-term agreement for a longer period of time, right? Why? The reason is in order to, that is with the key supplier or the distributor with whom they are making this long-term arrangement or an agreement, that is with the supplier or the distributor, mutual advantage. So they are making this long chain, or we say they are making this value chain partnership where one company or a unit, they will be forming a long-term arrangement or an agreement is being made, right, with the key suppliers, the most important suppliers or the distributors, in order to take the mutual agreement, or we say in order to take the mutual advantage. So here the value chain partnership between the CISO system and its suppliers. So here all forms of strategic alliance are filled with uncertainty. So one thorny issue, so one of the important risks you face in this strategic alliance is how to cooperate without giving away the company. So how you are going to cooperate without giving your company to another company or the business unit's core competence. So here this is the one of the most, we say the thorny aspect or the thorny issue or the risk under this strategic alliance, that is how to cooperate, how you are going to cooperate without giving your company, or it may, they ask that without giving our business units core components, the importance activity of that particular business. So there are so many issues like this, other issues that need to be dealt, so which has to be dealt with, and when the alliance is initially formed with others at the emergence later. So they have to consider and they have to deal with this kind of issues which are arising in the strategic alliance. So the strategic alliance success factors. So what are the success factors of this strategic alliance? If you see, it says identify likely partnering risk as well as deal with them when the alliance is formed, right? And also it says allocate the task and responsibility to each partner. So when they come together in the alliance, whatever the responsibilities, whatever the tasks are there, that which is to be performed, that should be divided among each other. That is allocating the risk and that is the task and the responsibilities to each partner. Then have a clear strategic purpose. Why you are coming to an existence of a strategic alliance? What is the necessity? So that purpose has to be meant, or it has to be dealt with. So having a clear strategic purpose. So only when you have a clear strategic purpose, then it is easy for you to do any kind of activity. Then finding a fitting partner with compatible goals and complementary capabilities. So if you want the strategic alliance which you want to do, if it wants to be a successful one, then you require correct partner, a fitting partner. So you have to find out who is a fitting partner who can collaborate with you or cooperate with you in the alliance, as well as those should be the having of compatible goods or goals. So this particular fitting partner, they should have a compatible goals, even they should have some goals and objectives, and also the complementary capabilities in order to achieve that goals or the objectives, right? And also it says create incentives for cooperation in order to minimize the differences between in the corporate culture. So when you create the incentives for cooperation to minimize, why you want to create the incentives? That is in order for cooperation, because to minimize the differences, when you give a very good incentives, you can minimize the differences, and you can see there is a lot of corporate culture in that particular organization. Then minimize conflicts among the partners. How you are going to minimize? So only when you minimize the conflicts or the fights which takes place among the partners, thereby clarifying the objectives. You need to clarify your objectives as well as avoiding direct competition in the marketplace. You can be successful in the alliance, right? And also comprehensive cross-culture knowledge. So this also should be very, very important and part of the success of the particular strategic alliance, and it should be ensured in an international alliance, so that that kind of comprehensive cross-culture knowledge should be brought in order to see that to ensure an international alliance, that is, so from one country to another country or from different foreign companies. And also exchange human resources in order to maintain communication and trust. If your alliance, strategic alliance, if it has to be a successful one, then you should exchange the human resources, the men, that is, who are having lot of knowledge and skills, who are technicians or the skilled persons. So they should be exchanged in order to maintain a very good communication and a rapport, and also the trust among the alliance. Then operate with long-term time horizons. So when you make an alliance, then that should be for a longer period of time. They should make a long-term arrangement so that you can reach your objectives. Then develop multiple joint products so that any failures are counterbalanced by success. So if you want to have your success in your alliance, then they say that you should develop multi-joint products. That is, you should produce more number of products, different kinds of product lines you need to develop, because if any one is failure, then you can counterbalance it with another one and you can be success in your alliance. So share information to build trust and keep the projects. So you should also share the information, that is, in order to build the trust, because when both of you are like a partners with each other, making a joint venture and alliance, then you should share the information. What I know, I should share with my counterpart, and the counterpart should share my information to me. So that will be very much important, because in order to build the trust as well as in order to keep the projects on the target. So only when we have the information, we can see and set the objectives and make the strategies to reach that particular projects or the targets. So monitor customer response and service complaints are very, very important on this aspect. And agree upon an exit strategy when the alliance is judged as a failure. So if you find that this alliance is a failure one, then see that you make an opportunity or you agree upon to exist a strategy, to exist the alliance, to come out of the alliance when you find it is not good going or it is not of very good alliance. Be flexible and willing to negotiate the relationship of environmental changes of the new opportunities. So it says you should be more flexible. So when you are flexible and willing to negotiate, so be flexible, having full of freedom as well as willingness should be there in order to negotiate regarding the relationship of environmental changes and new opportunities. So whatever the new opportunities you get and whatever the environmental changes takes place, depending upon that, you should be able to negotiate, that is willingly, with your willingness, as well as you should be flexible and change according to the situation. So students, so these are the topics which I had explained to you in today's session. So let us see what are the topics we have covered to you in this particular session. So I was explaining to you regarding the promotion factors or the promotion factors which will give the rise of strategic alliance or the reasons for forming strategic alliances. So it says to gain access to foreign markets, then to reduce financial risk, then to bring complementary skills, then to reduce the political risk and to achieve competitive advantage. In order and also to set technological standards to shape industry as well as evolution. Now coming to the types of strategies, I explained to you about the mutual trust, we say consortia, then we have joint venture, then we have licensing agreement, and the next one is value chain partnership. And now coming to the success factors, I explained to you all these important factors which are very much important for the success of an. So these are topics which I covered to you students. Hope that you understood the topics which are covered to you today. So see you in the next class. Until then, take care. Have a nice day. Thank you students.